Okay, hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube and episode 7 of the Ferrari restoration. I've just finished up doing basically all the front end attaching. You'd have seen at the end of last episode, but since then I've just gone around and done a couple of the little final finishing bits. Our next step was I was going to start tackling this rear panel and all of these rear end repairs. Turned out it was actually just going to be a lot easier to drop out the engine and subframe because the owner actually wants a lot of that basically restored and ice blast and stuff, make the whole engine bay just look really nice. So we just thought, well, we're going to be in here trying to get to these tough to get to areas, we may as well drop that next, and then that allows us to get inside the rear a lot easier. So yeah, you're probably about to watch me and Kenzie rip out an engine. Let's see if we can get this drive shaft out. There we go. One of two. Pain in the ass. I'm trying to get this manifold out. Oh yeah.
Hey.
Okay, so we're pulling off one of the last pieces here. There we go. Now look at that. That's a pretty engine. So, what we pulled off so far is manifolds front and back, as many of the electrical connections and plumb lines as we can. Have a couple of pipes over here left to take out. We have also taken out the AC pump because that's absolutely massive on the side, and there's no way we were going to be able to pull that out with that hanging on. So yeah, we're pretty close to being able to pull this out. A few more things to double check and pull off, but it's pretty close. So now we've got the engine out, we can get that's going to get sent off for like dry ice blasting, like a general freshen up. There might be a few of the so we've got these exhaust shields. We're definitely going to have to remake some of these. Some of these are not bad and can probably be cleaned up, but you've got some of them that are looking pretty rough, so they might just need remaking. But yeah, generally that's actually pretty good news. One, the engine came out a lot easier than we expected. I thought that was going to be really tricky, to be honest, because it's quite a small gap and the engine bay tapers in. Just did a quick bit of research on what other people have done. Yeah, it seems basically just pick it up by the back head and it tends to sort of swing itself into a nice orientation. So, all right, we'll keep you updated with the progress. So I've now moved on to working on the rear of the car. I'm just trying to set up this engine lid. So this is as central and correctly positioned as we can get. So basically my next task is to even out these side gaps. This side, where it's thinner, I should just be able to sort of planish this edge out a bit. Just hold a dolly on top, hit the side, and that basically prevents it sort of like crowning up like that. So yeah, that'll be what I'm working on next, is these two gaps. So as you can see from having planished that edge, we've actually already got quite a nice gap going in there. Just got a tiny bit more to do at this end, but this might end up being a case of slitting and welding, because where this corner is, it's all going to be very tight and quite hard to move. I'll give it a go, but it'll potentially be a slit and weld situation. Plus we're replacing this panel anyway, so that might be a case of doing that while this is out. after getting the engine lid gaps somewhere we want them, next thing I'm starting to look at is these cone sections. I don't know really what to call them, but basically where these have been previously welded on, like this whole back section here has been welded on. You can see it on this side as well, if it spins around, how they've been just sort of heavy migged or whatever, and they're quite uneven. Likewise with this, as you can see, the top edge is quite wobbly as well, so it's all stuff we've got to fix. And in here you can see just, you know, how roughly this has all been done. So that my next step is basically to start trying to sort these bits out and sort out, you know, all the wobbles and stuff in the shape here. So I've reached a point with the inner here where I don't really want to carry on too much of this. I can't actually get a dolly to the back of here. So what I'm going to do now is start tackling the outside area of it, which is pretty rough. So the plan is to essentially cut this piece out to this center line here. Basically cut out a nice piece there, because that's all bulgy, horrible. Also gives us access to panel beat the inside. Along with that, I'm going to burn away or melt off rest of this lead. That'll give us a better picture of this side and what work needs doing to it. As you can see, I've marked up the area in which I'm gonna cut out. Yeah, pre-drilled drilled out the spot welds that I can get to. There's still a little bit of this messy welding that's gone on here that I'm just gonna have to try lightly grind through. Hopefully the rest of it just picks away nicely. So yeah, just gonna basically little shape at the end here, take that out, do all the other work that I need to do, then I can make a nice piece to cap it back over. As you can see, cut my piece out here. Actually doesn't look too bad underneath, other than we got this one little split that's happened here. So that'll need a little bit of repair, but not too bad all in all. Also, as you can see now, gives me access to the back of where these welds were previously, so that's also nice. You can see a few little pinholes and stuff in it, but we're gonna flatten out and then I'm gonna go through and weld all those sort of bits up anyway. Here's the piece that came out. So you can see how sort of bit mutilated that is. Not overly rusty or anything, which is again nice, which we found quite a lot of on this. Is not too much of it's like horribly rusty, it's just been put together badly basically. But yeah, so now that that's open, I can get on with my internal repairs. We've got the new repair piece in, obviously just cleat in place for now, just while I've been finishing up all the internal stuff. Just popped it in so you can see there. I've also just gone around and started cleaning away these areas where the panel was put on previously. This one's actually not too bad. The weld here's, I just did some light sanding. It's come out quite nice and smooth actually. This one's a little bit more rough, but there's a couple of holes I'm going to have to fill in anyway. But again, not that awful. It's reasonably smooth, so that'll just take a tiny bit of beating, and that'll probably sort itself out. On the inside here, as you can see, this has come along a little bit as well. So there's still a tiny bit up here to do. It's very hard to get it to move, obviously. It's been migged in before, so a lot of this stuff's pretty hard and really doesn't want to move. So at worst, I'll just have to like possibly put a tiny piece in there, but I think it'll be okay. Just a little bit more work and I should be able to get these two sections at the side to push out. I'll just have to do a bit more precise panel beating to get them out. But the overall flatness on this is quite good. I've got one tiny section here in the middle that's high. Everything else is either flat or slightly low, which is perfect for what we want. And then, as you can see, got a nice line going up through there. So yeah, we're getting close to having this welded back in and all of this side sort of quite nice and neatened up. Then I'll have to tackle this little gross corner. I don't even know what some of this is, so take a bit of cleaning back first to see what's actually going on, and then neaten that back up as well. Okay, so you've seen the damage in this corner. I'm going to have to make a new piece to fix all of this. But we have a locating hole, which is for this pin at the back of the side window. So this just slots in, sits in that hole, and that's basically what helps you locate and helps this window sort of stay in. The front end is all screwed in. So to basically get this back in where I want it, luckily the front edge has all got holes, so I can screw that in. That holds the forward backward location. And then to keep my basically how far the window sticks out, I've made a little packer here using a few of our Cleco tabs. Actually turns out to be the perfect size. So that basically stops my window falling in too far or sticking out too far when I go to put the future hole in here. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. So, as you can see, made and test fitted up this little corner piece and just trying the window in. As you can see, that fits in there quite nicely. So I've initially just pre-drilled the hole just big enough for the basically the little pin on the end of the window to sit in there. We just need to confirm whether there's grommets or anything that sits in there, whether we need to increase the size of the hole. We're going to leave it as that for now until we've got that confirmed. But yeah, window's fitting up nicely, so that's screwed into the front to lock the position that way. And as you can see, might be hard to pick up, but basically there's a line that goes up the body of the car here, and that's fitting in there really nicely. So yeah. Next step is try and turn this into one of these. Going to tackle this window repair. So we did the one on the other side. This is going to be a pretty similar case. As you can see, I now have the pieces mocked up and the main shape here is tacked in place, just so I can, basically I've screwed in the front end of the panel, the window panel, just to make sure that this is fitting correctly. As you can see, that sits in there really nice. So yeah, next step is to tack this piece in. So after having made the repairs to the cone section in here, along the top and flattening out this, I've moved on to now deal with this. I tried on the boot lid, and basically, well, one, we already know that this is completely wrong and it needs to be more like this. And so what we were initially thinking of doing was sort of just making a piece to go over the end, but this is positionally incorrect to the boot. This is also incorrect to the boot, however it's the other way, so that's like too far. So it's going to be much easier in the end is just to actually just unpin this whole panel here and just make a new one. Okay, as you can see, got a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Basically everything's been a bit hectic, so just basically knuckled down with getting some bits done. As you can see, I've actually cut out and made the new rear quarter piece here. A little bit of some tricky shapes and stuff in the back of here. Let me show it the other way. Yeah, so tiny bit left to fill in, you know, a few spots here and there, and then obviously fully weld and connect all of this up. But we basically just needed this piece made in and confirmed, lining up with the boot. So now, as you can see, we've got a nice gap going through there. Next thing to do is basically level all this out at the bottom, get the lights in, and then we can check our rear panel and basically see if we've got, you know, the lights stick like flush out below on both sides, and then we can, you know, slit and move each end depending on where we need to go.